It's 20 minutes before 8 o'clock. Earlier this week, Len Bias, the former University of Maryland basketball star, was drafted by the Boston Celtics. His lifelong dream had come true and his future looked bright. Then yesterday morning came the unbelievable news that Len Bias, only 22 years old, had died of an apparent heart attack. With us this morning from the University of Maryland is Charles Lefty Driesell, the school's head basketball coach. Good morning, Coach. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Stone.
Where were you yesterday morning when you got the news, and what was your initial reaction?
Well, I had been out walking with my wife, which I do every morning for exercise, and the hospital called me and asked me some questions about Leonard, and that's when I got the news. I didn't really know how serious it was till I got to the hospital and met with his parents.
Mm-hmm. Has the reality set in at this point?
I guess so, yes. I know I'll never see Leonard dunking and running and jumping and happy like he always was again, and it's, it's hard.
This is big-time college basketball, and an athlete has died mysteriously, and there are a lot of reports today that drugs may have been involved. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I would be very, very surprised because Leonard just had an examination by the Boston Celtics and the Golden State Warriors and the New York Knicks, and I'm positive there were no drugs in those examinations, and it's completely out of character for him to do anything like that. That's one thing that I told Red and all the teams that were interested in him. They didn't have to worry about him with drugs or alcohol. He was a born-again Christian and a great person, and, it would be completely out of character for him to do anything like that.
Well, I want to ask you about a Boston Globe report this morning. The Globe quotes Red Auerbach, the president of the Celtics, as saying that you called him yesterday afternoon and said that there was new information that indeed there may have been evidence of drug use, of cocaine, and that possibly he had used it, perhaps for the first time.
No, I told him that there was, they said in the urine, from what I'd understood from the police, that there was a trace of cocaine in his urine. But again, if that's the case, he is completely out of character for Leonard Bias. I would be completely shocked.
There was no reason to believe he might have been experimenting with something he shouldn't have been.
I really couldn't tell you that until the complete autopsy is, done.
Coach, what made him such a great basketball player?
He was a great person, number one. He's a great, fierce competitor on the court, and off the court, he was a great guy. He had a lot of friends, and he worked hard, and he improved. He averaged 7 points a game as a freshman, and then he went up to 14 and 18 and 23, and I think it was just his work ethics and his great physical ability that the good Lord gave him.
What's been the reaction down there at the University of Maryland?
Well, I think everybody's in a state of shock, and we're all saddened that we lost a great friend and a great player, and mostly a great man, but he signed a great contract last fall when he gave his life to the Lord, so I know he's where he should be, and he's happy, and we're going to miss him, but he made a great contribution to society, and I'm sad that the people in the NBA won't be able to see him play for the next 10 or 12 years, because I know he would have been a superstar in the NBA, no question about that.
He's described as having been a quiet kind of fellow. He was a poet, obviously very sensitive.
He's a very outstanding artist. He majored in interior design here, and he was a great artist, and he was just a fun-loving guy that enjoyed life and was a born-again Christian, and he had everything going for him, sitting on top of the world. He just signed a big contract with Reebok when he got back from Boston yesterday, and so he had everything going for him, and we're certainly going to miss him here.
You've known him since 5th grade. How will you remember him?
I just remember him as a great person and a guy that everybody loved and respected, and a great, great athlete. I think the greatest athletes ever played in this conference, and it's just hard for me to realize that he won't be around anymore.
Coach, I understand a scholarship fund has been set up in his name. Tell me about that and who will benefit.
Well, he has 2 brothers and a sister, and I know Leonard was going to do a lot for them and his family, and now, that's not going to be able to happen because of his death, and so we just want to make sure that his brothers and sisters are educated and so forth, and so his family mostly will benefit from that.
Coach Lefty Driesell, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. It's now 45 minutes after 7 o'clock. We'll be right back.